A meta pick refers to a choice made within the community that is considered to be optimal or highly effective within the current metagame. The metagame itself encompasses the evolving strategies, trends, and dominant choices that emerge as players adapt and innovate within the game's ecosystem. Whether it's selecting a specific character, utilizing a particular strategy, or favoring certain items or weapons, meta picks are central to navigating the competitive landscape. However, oh, I'm gonna do this line in an English accent. However, are meta picks actually healthy for the game? Based off my experience and opinions. God, okay. Hold on. However, goddamn. However, are meta picks actually healthy for a video game? Based off my experience, kinda.
A zombie. Come with me. We gather here today.
Hey guys, I'm waiting for the future here. Just a little bit of a heads up. I don't have footage of the games that I'm going to describe in this video, mainly because I was in Los Angeles watching the Auto concert. That might be a turnoff, so I just wanted to say that right now. But yeah, I do recommend all of these games. Maybe not Siege, but yeah, thank you. If I'm being totally honest, I haven't played Rainbow Six Siege in quite a while due to its community. But from what I remember, I liked how the game played, specifically in terms of operators and playing around the operators players chose. Siege is really easy at its core. Defend a bomb or attack it. But what makes the game difficult is the operators affecting both the map as well as the way players engage certain fights. One really easy example is Thermite and Bandit. With metal oxide, freedom, and the tax dollars of the American people, Thermite has the ability to make, quote,
a really big fucking
making him one of the most reliable operators for breaching reinforced walls set by defenders during the preparation phase. Bandit, however, can easily counter this by electrifying the wall, disabling Thermite's ability to breach altogether. To counteract this, players on the offensive side can choose someone to disable Bandit's ability altogether, like an EMP. This constant tug of war of countering important operators like Thermite and Bandit is one of the main parts of this game. From the tournaments that I've watched in the past, a team composition can completely crumble if they don't get a certain wall broken at a certain time. I've seen competitive players stay on the same wall until the last 30 seconds of the game where, once they got the wall open, cleaned house on the defending side. However, this aspect of the game is not what I really wanted to focus on too much in terms of this topic. What I wanted to focus on is the developer's way of changing how the game is played or the flow of the match entirely. There is the occasional operator patch and weapon fix, but what's more influential to the game is how they affect ADS speeds, equipment operators have access to, armor, and plenty more. A great example of this can be seen in the more recent patches, where they disabled the ability to cook grenades entirely, instead having to be thrown with its 5-second delay. While a lot of players were first distraught by this update, like Maharaga himself, players soon adapted to make grenades not as a way to frag, get it? Frag? Fragging, like frag grenade, like fragging operate, like fragging play, but as a way to get rid of utility and equipment. This, in my opinion, is a great way to handle a meta in a video game. They didn't downright buff or nerf a certain operator or weapon, but instead changed how the game was played entirely, indirectly affecting everything somewhat evenly. I know. This game is not too well known, so a lot of people might not know the points I'm talking about. But honestly, for this section, you don't need to be an MLG splatter like myself to understand the points I'm going to be talking about in this video. I feel that looking at a game that is not as mainstream could be beneficial to coming to a conclusion about this week's topic. It also has the potential to be quite a competitive game and needs to be recognized a little bit more in the esports community, but that's a video in itself. Anyways, this game was what first made me think a little bit more about the idea of meta picks and team composition, specifically in a video created by the channel ProChara, where he was discussing the aftermath of the most recent tournament at the time, 20xx5. I'll leave a link to their video down in the description, but to summarize, they were describing how both finalist teams were having difficulty making a team comp that reliably and consistently won games. Quoting a tweet from one of the finalist teams, "A game full of equally bad options leads to homogenization, not diversity. A metagame is just what everyone else is doing. The reason we talk about it is because if we know what everyone else is doing, we can use options in the game to think of a way to beat it. But if none of the options work, the only choices left to you are in your playstyle. What ProChara concludes is that there's no reliable combination that is strong enough to work reliably against everything. And what I want to focus on is the idea of playstyle. Because there's no reliable combination of weapons that you can choose in a fight or round, you must rely on how you use the weapon you are currently using, both in the sense of your skill in that weapon and figuring out ways to counteract the weapons of the opposing team. The main reason why the Splatoon community is so conflicted on this idea is because while there are a lot of weapons in the game, there aren't a lot of ways you can play those weapons. An example ProChara brings up is a weapon called the Tentabrella, which is essentially a slow and giant shield that has the potential to one-shot opponents. While you can be godlike with this weapon, if the opponent team has a combination of weapons that downright destroy the weapon entirely, your playstyle does also. If the weapons that are available to you are not reliable or adaptable, you can have the potential to be essentially useless in a fight. Splatoon 3 shows promise on what a lack of meta could look like, but just slightly misses the mark with most weapons being one-dimensional, able to complete only one task well.
Let me speak to the people, Piccolo! Let me speak! No one's stopping you. They need to hear this! 30. They need to hear this! One thing, I'm not a big fan of the government!
I literally just made a video about Helldivers, so I'm not going to go too much into the nitty-gritty of the game. But if you want my opinion, you could definitely check out the video I made last week. One of the first controversies in terms of patches was the one regarding the railgun. This railgun was unarguably the best support weapon in the game, being able to reliably take down heavy and elite enemies. And after 3-ish weeks, the developers decided to nerf it, making it less reliable. And while a lot of the community was fairly upset about this change, I was honestly quite surprised as to why. From my understanding, what players were upset about the most is that a reliable weapon that was able to take out more difficult enemies was nerfed. And because of how difficulty works in Helldivers, it made the game essentially impossible for them to play, not being able to clear out more of the difficult levels like 9 or 8. And while I could see why they would be angry, I was definitely more on the developer's side here. The railgun before the patch made the game significantly easier. Now that the railgun's nerfed, players have to rely more on different strategies and think a lot more before they engage a fight. And personally, I still think that the railgun is really strong. It can still 3 or 4 shot chargers, you just have to put it in its unsafe option. Players, in my opinion, are just upset that the railgun has a higher skill ceiling, but you didn't hear that from me. But wait, Lemoyne, wasn't one of the main concerns being if all the weapons are equally weak, it affects the game negatively? Shh, I'll get to that in just a second, Pookie Bear. Well, the main difference between Splatoon and Helldivers is that it caters a lot more to different playstyles. Compared to Splatoon, not only can you change the weapon that you're using, you can also mix and match different abilities, armors, and tons more. For instance, in my latest video, I mentioned that a loadout I like using on bug planets are the grenade launcher, ammo pack, expendable anti-tank, and eagle airstrike. This was because it was a reliable way to take down hordes of enemies from close to long range. But recently, a loadout I've been experimenting with is the jetpack, arc thrower, expendable anti-tank, and mortar sentry. And while this is not as reliable as the loadout I mentioned earlier, it's fucking fun, dude. Oh my god, it's so fun. Something about being one of the only players in a squad to jump around in the air is so fun. And blitzing bug holes by throwing 3-pointers gives me a dopamine rush I never thought I would get. Again, this is not as reliable as my first loadout, but it still holds up pretty well in level 9 and 8 planets given the fact that I was able to clear a lot of them pretty consistently. The main reason why I wanted to mention Helldivers again is to show that metas don't always have to work in a video game. Compared to Splatoon, where there was a lack of playstyles, Helldivers solves this by being able to interchange different abilities, weapons, and catering to numerous different types of playstyles. The last point I wanted to talk about Overwatch, because what's a Lemoyne video without shitting on Overwatch? But I wanted to get Blade's opinion on meta picks and if they are healthy for a game.
Yeah?
Hey Blade.
What's up?
Hey.
Yeah?
So remember that thing I asked you to do for, the video?
You didn't...
Like 2 weeks prior?
What are you talking about?
You don't remember.
No.
Why not?
Because you didn't say anything.
I did say something.
No.
Yes, I did.
2 weeks ago, we agreed on you having a hard deadline for completing the knife thingy. That's different.
This is... But anyways, guys, that's the end of the video. As per usual, I'll leave some clips with some audio. Enjoy. No, is it nighttime? Who is this person? I can't kill Atlas. I can't kill Atlas. Man, where did Atlas go? Motherfucker, I have... Oh my god, I've never knocked out one of his limbs before. That's so sad. Never mind! Never mind! I almost felt sympathy for a fucking insect.
Guys, I need...
Now stay there while you learn your lesson. Anyways. Man. What is this? Is this holy poop? Did I just get divine inspiration from shit? Wow, story of my life there, I guess. You just died.
He's diving for liberty.
I'm gaming. I'm gaming.
I was about to dive into a mine. I thought the thing right. No, imagine he dived into the fucking hole.
Wait, this hole right here?
That'd have been.
Oh my. You